A wonderfully historic postcard for you today as we come to Mont Orgueil in St Martin's Parish on the island of Jersey. Mike, if you'd have said to me there's a very old castle in Jersey, I'd have had to have believed you because you know, but I didn't know there was this magnificent building behind me. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, it is wonderful, and it was built nearly 800 years ago, at least to start with. What happened was that Jersey was originally part of the Norman Empire, and then, you know, in 1066, William the Conqueror comes along, invades England, and links England and Normandy, and Jersey becomes part of that empire. Then in 1204, about 150 years later, King John, by then King of England, loses the last of his possessions in Normandy to the King of France. And the people of Jersey have a choice. Do they become loyal to the King of France, or do they stay loyal to King John? They choose John, they choose to be English, or at least attached to the English crown. And from that point on, Jersey's 14 miles away from the enemy. So we need a castle to defend Jersey and to defend the interests of the English crown.
Did King John ever think to himself, oh, blimey, why did they bother to be loyal to me? This is going to cause me a headache. They're so close to Normandy, France.
On the contrary, it was great for him because it gives him a place to be based and a place to base his troops if he needs to, very close to France. It's like just next door to the enemy. And so for the King of France, it must have been a bit of a headache, I suspect, to have an English possession here. And of course, as you know, we've been at war with the French off and on from then right the way through till, well, 18-something at least.
Was there any particular reason they chose John and England over France and their ruler?
Yeah, and it's to do with the kind of basic Jersey cultural position. Jersey people think of themselves as essentially Norman. King John was not the King of England so much as still the Duke of Normandy, descendant of William the Conqueror, Duke of Normandy. And so today, even today, 800 years later, when Jersey people raise a toast, the loyal toast in Jersey is to the Queen, our Duke, which reflects the loyalty still to the Duke of Normandy.
Now, we've got Elizabeth Castle down at St Helier, which is much older than this one, isn't it?
No, that's newer. Elizabeth Castle comes along
newer
after this one.
Right, so this is the oldest castle.
This is the oldest one. This one's built from 1204 onwards, and for about 400 years is the fortified place in Jersey. It's here to defend the island. And then around 1600, St Helier begins to be built. And it's obvious to anybody who can see, if you want to invade the island, where you should go, that you should invade there. Nice flat beaches, easy place to come. And so gradually it's seen that this isn't a very sensible place to defend the island from. And so Elizabeth Castle is built from around 1600, and this gradually is superseded.
What about this castle then? What action has it seen? Any invasions from just over there?
Yep. For a while, it was actually captured by the French. For about 7 years during the Middle Ages, actually captured by the French, and it was also famously under siege for a long period of time. But you know, sieges weren't quite how we think they were. The siege started, it was a bit like cricket, there were very strict rules, and the deal was that if the people in the castle weren't rescued within a certain time, then they just let the people who were besieging in. If they managed to hold out for a certain time, the besiegers just went away, and that's what happened.
So this is in a little town called Orgueil. Does that mean Orgueil at any time was more important than St Helier?
Well, Orgueil is a small community, as you can see, a sort of harbour and a small group of cottages, and it grew up around the castle. And because it's a natural harbour, there weren't towns in Jersey to start with. There were just small communities, small settlements, and this great fortified castle, the centre of government, the seat of power, representing the power of the king in Jersey and reminding the people of Jersey who was in charge. St Helier is really the first town, and that's built really from the 17th century onwards.
So the heyday of this castle and Jersey, presumably they go together?
Well, the heyday of this castle really from the 13th century, from say 1200 through to about 1600. It nearly got knocked down, you know. Sir Walter Raleigh, governor of Jersey in 1600, built Elizabeth Castle, and it was said, well, we might as well knock this old place down, not going to be much use now, and Raleigh said would be a pity to knock it down if it could be saved for a few pounds being spent. This one he saved, and Elizabeth Castle he built.